Happy Wednesday, everyone. How are you doing on this I'm calling it a wonderful Wednesday for me. I have an announcement, but before I would jump the gun. Let me say that welcome again to Get to Know Bob. I'm your host, Sonia Weaver, this amazing platform where we get to have some engaging conversations with amazing people that are business owners, authors, musicians, writers, just founders of nonprofits, businesses. I mean, we're just doing amazing things within our community. And I'm so excited about tonight's conversation. Before I get into tonight's conversation, I have to now share some news. See, I was getting so excited about it. As of Monday, so I'm 3 days in. Those of you who might have seen my post, maybe those know, a few know what the post meant. Others might have been wondering what it meant when I just was thanking God for my time. You know me. I have said when we support Black-owned businesses, our most valuable resource is our time, and God has given me my time. As of Monday was day one for me to be a full-time entrepreneur. Can you get excited? Full-time entrepreneur. Now, I just believe this conversation is a bit in divine order because you're going to find out in the conversation how it relates to me. We booked our guests weeks ago, and then I got a call afterwards, sometime, that I was being severanced. Can you imagine what that call felt like? Well, I'm going to tell you, if God was not preparing me and I was not being led, it would have been devastating. But it wasn't. When I got off the phone, I said, well, God, I guess it's time. I've been saying how I needed time, how I would be able to go to the next level if I had time. I told you that 2003 was next level. And so, therefore, God said, you know what? I know this girl is not going to do what she's supposed to do. So, He did it for me. I am all over the place from day to day. But most importantly, I am excited about what God has already prepared for me. And I am just going to walk in confidence knowing that on the other side of whatever I go through, He has me. So I just wanted to make sure I share that with you and encourage you about that, which leads me into I had on Sunday the best celebration. It was a farewell celebration for me. My team got together with me and they asked if they could do a linked event. Can you talk about support? Your own team leaving a company, but they want to have an opportunity to beat and bond with me. They said, we want a keepsake to remember you by. And I just was like, oh my God. And she said, and this is a perfect time for people to understand and recognize that you are moving on to a new chapter. And so they could see firsthand what you do and support you from then on. I will tell you what, they just touched my heart so much. Really, really, truly. And this was the phenomenal bracelet that we did. And I just absolutely loved it. I custom designed it. And of course, I had to have a pop of green for the company colors, because that's where we were anchored in. But then I added my favorite color to it. And I just offset it with a bunch of silver and surprised them with the heart charm. Because, when you're in a traditional business, they're more like family. You spend so many hours with people and they truly become an extension of your family. So I will truly miss them day to day, but I am just so thrilled and excited about what God has for me. Now, going into our deal of the day, we are ending this month. Yeah, this week we end the money month. And I wanted to make sure that I gave you a phenomenal free gift offering that will continue to inspire you this year as you focus on money. We'll be giving away either one, depending on who's that first one. You will either get Financially Flawless Questions, the Couples Edition, or Financially Flawless Questions, the Singles Mothers Edition. Both are authored by the amazing Crystal Gunn. And for our most recent conversation, you can go to YouTube for December the 14th, and where we spoke with Crystal Gunn, who is an amazing financial strategist and the founder of the Amazing Woman Network. How do you get that free gift? Now, I'm going to tell you, we're going to get a little strict on you guys. It may not give the 7 days because we are getting people who are really starting to get into it. So I am going to be so busy, I may not have time to track for 7 days. But until then, here's how you get that book. One, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You need to like and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook or Instagram. And then share and tag 5 of our Get to Know Bob episodes. Make sure you tag Deals with Bob and tag 5 friends. Send your pics to info@dealswithbob.com, letting us know that you have completed this, and the first person to do so will receive that free gift. Our featured nonprofits as we close out the month of April are Unity and Good Measure. They kicked off the year for us. So, Unity Detroit is doing amazing things for our youth, uniting neighborhoods and inspiring today's youth. And Good Measure is doing phenomenal things within our school systems. So make sure you take the opportunity to support both of those organizations with your time, your gifts, and your talents. I want to take a moment to say hello, Latanya, for joining. Thank you for joining this evening. Yes, we did have a phenomenal time. Make sure you tag a little person and have them share too this episode. Our featured business will be Linked LLC, where we had this amazing time. So let's take a moment to see what they do.
Linked, an atmosphere that's fun, inviting, and exciting, where you create memories one bead at a time. There are multiple reasons to get linked, from team building to national celebrations and awareness. Couples or remembrance, groups and organizations, collaborations and fundraisers. Numerous special events. And if you're celebrating a birthday or you're the bride-to-be, why not get linked? Our beading instructors will walk you through step-by-step directions while you create your keepsake bracelet. No beading experience is needed. Our large variety of beads and spacers will allow you to custom design your unique bracelet. All are welcome. Come bead and bond. Set up your food and beverages, win raffle prizes, receive your hostess gifts, and enjoy time shared building connections and getting linked. Please visit us at areyoulinked.com. Email us at info@areyoulinked. Call us at 7343259001. Are you linked? Book your show today.
Linked is a unique experience for connecting relationships in a fun, inviting, and exciting atmosphere, one beat at a time. Linked offers a relaxing environment where you can be you and tap into your creativity. You will have a memorable experience, and at the end, you will have a unique keepsake bracelet that you can wear and forever remember the time shared. Link provides all supplies, and enthusiastic instructors will provide step-by-step directions. No beading experience is needed. Just come prepared to have an amazing time. So if you are ready for a new experience, look no further. Come and get linked. And our consumer members will receive either free plus 3 or half off with 1. As we move into our next segment, we have our deals for our consumer members. We are going to kick it off with Detroit Metro Podcast offering 15% off to our consumer members. Five Stone Digital is offering 10% off. Rise Up Host is offering 10% off. Deals with Bob LLC is offering 15% off premium services. And Today's Smile is offering 50% off whitening. If you are a business owner and you want to offer deals, discounts, giveaways, and rewards to our consumer members, visit www.dealswithbob.com and join today. Consumer members, remember, you're going to click on consumer sign up for your annual membership and take part of all of those amazing deals, discounts offered by our Black owned businesses. Now, our business owners, we definitely want you to also uh, benefit from those deals, discounts, giveaways, and rewards, but you have to get an annual package where your consumer membership will be included. As we kick off our Stay Connected segment, make sure you grab a pen and paper if you haven't already done so. We have a lot of amazing events coming on this upcoming week and leading into the month of May. If you haven't already done so, make sure you take a moment to revisit last week's episode where we had an amazing conversation with Cassie Jones McBride, the founder of Michigan Chamber for Reproductive Justice. Volunteers are needed for Genesis Pregnancy Resource Center. Email apb@genesisprc.org. A financial empowerment workshop is being presented to you by Crystal Gunn at the Detroit Public Library Duffy Branch, April 29th at 3:30 p.m. Boss Entertainment Group is sponsoring Is It Real? Coming soon, a Mac Justice Entertainment production, April 29th. Get your tickets on Eventbrite. Our on Wall Street is presenting a vendor showcase at 2900 East Grand Boulevard on Sunday, April 30th from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. Sandylands present Detroit Mix Pillow Paint Party at Detroit Sip on April the 30th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The Amazing Woman Speak podcast on April the 30th at 7 p.m. Their topic, My Seat at the Table and Sexual Assault Awareness, with your hosts, Crystal Gunn and Michelle Harper. Boss Entertainment Group and DJ Mr. Millennium presents the Energy Concert Series, happening Thursday, May 18th. It is a free event at Harmony Cafe Suites and More, hosted by Sonia Weaver, and award-winning supergroup King Mellow Man and Mellow Runnings will be your entertainment. Divalicious Enterprises LLC presents a spades tournament. You guys remember spades? On Sunday, May 21st from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Complex Hall. Funkdafied, a P-Funk concert happening on Friday, May 26th at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. hosted by Mona Lisa's Lyrics. Red Dot Bags Packing Party, happening Saturday, May 27th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And let us support you and your event by adding it to our Stay Connected segment. Visit www.dealswithbob.com and contact us today. Well, can you get excited? We have so many amazing things happening in our community. And seriously, if you have an event that you want featured on our segment, make sure you get that information to us so that we can feature your upcoming events. The more people that know, the more people that go. And even if you can't attend, maybe a friend or two might drop through. Now, I am so excited for tonight's conversation. If you have seen the post, you know that we are getting ready to have an amazing conversation with none other than the phenomenal Miss Tiffany Cartwright. Hello, Tiffany. How are you?
I am well. I'm well. How are you?
I am doing phenomenal. Thank you. Thank you for
Awesome.
asking. So,
Great.
what I tend to do on this show is I love for people to self-introduce. I'm going to pass the baton to you, and I want you to take a moment to let people know who you are, what you do, and then most importantly, why you do what you do.
Awesome, awesome. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on. It's always just an honor, a privilege, and a blessing just to be able to share my story with anyone and everyone. So thank you for having me. By way of background, for those who I am privileged to meet via your podcast tonight, my name is Tiffany Nicole Cartwright, and I am the founder and CEO of Amara Products. We are the makers of G.L.A.M body scrubs. And we are a certified, woman-owned, certified, minority-owned company specializing in natural and organic skincare products. We're super excited to join you tonight as our products have most recently been launched in Target, Walmart, and Stop and Shop stores nationwide. So we're super excited about that. Additionally, we're blessed to have had the brand featured with lots of publications such as Essence, Entrepreneur, Black Enterprise, Forbes, as well as Sheen Magazine and many others. Here locally in Detroit, we're very, very thankful to have been featured on Live in the D, CW50, Channel 7 WXYZ with Carolyn Clifford, as well as the Michigan Chronicle and the Detroit Free Press. So it has been a journey that's been nothing short of amazing. And I'm just thankful to give God all the glory, honor, and praise for it.
I love it. Yes, exactly. That's who we need to make sure gets all of the glory. So I do have a lot of action packed. So I made sure that I went through my intro probably quicker than I have in a lot of episodes, just because I wanted to make sure we were had able to touch bases on a lot of the things in my notes. So first and foremost, I remember when we met, and that was at a vending event. And what caught my attention to be engaged was the conversation of your why. For those who might not know, please share your why. I know it's related to your daughter. So please share.
Yes, absolutely. So I never dreamed of launching a national skincare line. These products were actually birthed as a result of a need, as many other amazing products are. My daughter was born with eczema. And as I said, I wasn't trying to launch a skincare line. I was simply determined, if you will, to try to find natural ingredients to treat her skin. I didn't want to use any harsh steroids. I didn't want to use any harsh chemicals. I was just a firm believer that everything that we need for these temples is given to us in God's great creation. And so, being a firm believer in that, I literally got in my kitchen and I started mixing natural ingredients to treat her eczema. And thankfully, they worked. And I was later told by pediatricians and dermatologists that natural ingredients really, really do work. You know, I tease and say that I came up in an era where before there was all of the vegan this and the organic that and the holistic, you know, back in the days, you used what you had in your kitchen or what you could grow in your garden. And I tease that, you know, I had a mom that thought, you know, castor oil was a cure for everything. You say, Mom, my head hurts. Like, here, take some castor oil. Mom, my stomach hurts. Here, take some castor oil. Mom, I have a headache. Here, take some castor oil. So, you know, this is just what we did. It's how we lived. You know what I mean? And so, as I look back now, it's amazing as I watch the advent of, again, everything being all things vegan and organic and the whole nine. It's like we're really just getting back to the basics, the things that, as I said, were always part of God's creation anyway. So, but yeah, that's how the whole journey started. And as I said, it's been nothing short of amazing.
Yeah, and those who don't know, I suffer with eczema myself. So that was one of the reasons that I connected the way I did, because I was just like, okay, but I'm always so hesitant because I'm also very sensitive.
Yes.
And I was really, I would always say I was very scared to try new things because if I did, I have like skin sensitivities from touch and from breathing and whatever I come in contact with. I'm just a mess when it comes to certain things.
Yeah.
And I remember you at least offered samples and I was able to try them in a small section. I didn't have a reaction, but I never really kind of followed up, and that was kind of my own fault. But I will say, you know, most of the products I have had since childhood or evolved a little, and you're right, they do have steroids. So I have to be so conscious to use them in moderation.
Mhm,
With
mhm.
your products, what are the frequencies? Because I know for me, again, like I said, moderation is if I have a really bad flare up and I just absolutely can't get it under control. But I always love to have something that I can use on a regular basis. Are your products like daily use or weekly use? How are
Absolutely. You know what? Absolutely. And one of the great things about my brand is that my products are not liquid or water based, so they're actually in solid form. And what that allows a consumer to do is that you control that. So it's a solid that's in your hand, and you control the amount of exfoliation that's taking place. You control the intensity with which that exfoliation is taking place. So if it's a sensitive area, for example, where you're prone to having flare ups, then obviously you can either bypass it or you can just try it gently. Conversely, if you're talking about those knees, heels, and elbows, you can actually put it on there and exfoliate to your heart's content. And so that's one of the things that I love about the brand is that, again, you control the amount of exfoliation, and you also control the intensity of the product because you control how much of it you're actually using. Now, and also in terms of the frequency, it really depends on what you're going for. Heels, for me, is an everyday. It's just an everyday because that's where your skin tends to really, really get dry. In the winter, I tend to actually exfoliate more because what happens with my scrubs is that the sugar is exfoliating, but those oils are actually penetrating the skin and keeping your skin smooth. And so in the winter, where we tend to be so very, very dry, for me, that means we're going to exfoliate even more.
I
But
love
again,
it.
the consumer controls that, and that's by design.
I love that. Awesome. Now, I have a slide because I want to say congratulations. You mentioned it earlier as in your intro. What was this like? OMG. I can only imagine. What was this like?
Just so surreal. It's still, even now, it's almost still like a dream. Like, is this even really happening? Like, can I actually walk into Target or Walmart and see my own like product sitting there on the shelf? It's just been amazing. And I'll tell you what, it's a thrill. It's a high that I don't think will ever get old. You know what I mean? I think it's just always going to be there because I know what it took to get there. And, my backstory, I ended up starting the business after losing my job. And there were times during those dark moments where, I'd lost my home, I'd lost my car, lost everything, and was walking around with a bridge card in my pocket. And Walmart was the only place I could afford to shop. And as I look at my product on that shelf now, I am reminded of those days where I would walk through the aisles of Walmart having to pull items out of my cart because I had to decide between what I wanted to eat and what I needed to eat. And during those times, I would put an empty jar on that Walmart shelf. And from my lips to God's ears, I would just believe God that one day my situation would turn around and that my products would be on those same Walmart shelves. And so every time I see it, like I said, there's just a thankfulness that comes over me. There's a gratefulness, and sometimes I have to hold back those tears as I reminisce on what it was like back then. And I just can't help but to praise God. Some days I just want to shout and scream and praise because I know that it was only through God's grace that I was able to get away from, like I said, the bankruptcy, the bridge card, and actually start and launch that business and get those products on those store shelves at Target and Walmart, like throughout the country.
That is a testimony. And that was
Yes.
part of my intro because I don't know what's next. I know unlike you, I have planted seeds for in a business prior to it happening, but still getting separated from what you feel is security is huge.
It's
If you
huge.
don't mind sharing, because in the world's view,
Yeah.
you're highly successful. You were talking about a judge. I mean,
Yeah.
share. Like a lot of people may think that, you were just like a mom, just at home mixing in the kitchen and then deciding to go.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
people may
No.
not know your backstory. So
Yes.
please tell us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, like you just stated, when it comes to a job, um, security is never promised. And oftentimes people thought that because I was serving as a judge, with this University of Michigan law degree, having clerked for the Michigan Supreme Court, having served as an assistant attorney general, I had all the titles and all of the recognition that can come from a law degree. I graduated from one of the best law schools in the country and worked with some of the largest law firms, in the country. But to have that just like that, it can be taken away from you. And so I say that to say that we, particularly as believers, we can't put our faith, our hope, our trust in a job. We're thankful for them, but at the same time, we have to always know that no matter what, that God is our source. And we have to know it is in him that we live. It is in him that we move. And it is in him that we have our being. Because to place your faith in anything else, you're setting yourself up for a fall. So I tease now. I say I'm the only person that I know that went literally from presiding over unemployment hearings to relying upon an unemployment check. Like, who does that? Right. So, but the bigger the test, the bigger the testimony. And as I look back now, when I look at, my life is as busy as it is now with entrepreneurship, I now say I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I'm thankful because I say I lost my job, but I found my purpose.
Yes.
And it was only in losing the job that I was able to find my purpose. Because see, we get to a point where we're comfortable. I mean, I was out in the burbs. I had a new Lexus every year. I mean, anything I wanted, I could do. I was traveling, just living my best life, not thinking about entrepreneurship, not thinking about using those same formulations that bless my child's skin and help treat her eczema, blessing other mothers, grandmothers, aunties, to help their nieces, nephews, and grandchildren in the same way that my daughter was helped. It was just about, hey, my daughter's good, my family's good, I'm good, all is well. But God, in that humbling experience, I had to learn to turn outward as opposed to turning inward. And I had to look at the bigger picture. And the only way that the business was able to launch is because I had to think outside of myself and think, well, if that product helped my daughter and her skin, how do I sit on that? Even today, I remind myself in some of the hard times, even with business, when you have cancer survivors that are giving you testimonials about how you have a product that is helping them battle cancer, that is bringing comfort to their skin, giving them some type of relief. When you get testimonials from people who have kids who are suffering from acne, hives, dermatitis, whatever it might be, then it becomes, how dare you sit on that?
Yes.
How dare you sit on your gift and not share that God-given gift with the world? We're compelled to do this. We have to do this. We have to. I corrected myself the other day. We were in the workroom and I said, oh my gosh, Target just expanded my 2-ounce jar into like almost 700 stores. And I was in the workroom and I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get this order. We got to get this order. And my son, he corrected me. He said, no, mom, not we have to get them out. We get to get them out. He said, in other words, no, it's not, I have to get all these orders done. It's that I get the privilege, I get the blessing to be in a position where I get to get these orders done. I get to be a supplier for Walmart. I get to be a supplier for Target. Not I have to do it, I get to do it.
Right.
Your perspective, your vantage point.
Yes. I'm gonna be like amen on all that, because you start talking over my nose. I was like, comfortable. We do get comfortable and we're not supposed to be comfortable. I was going to ask, did you feel that it was humbling? You mentioned it, that it was a humbling experience. The one thing I'm like, I think sometimes we get our identity linked into our jobs. Was that the same for you? Like I am a judge more so than I'm Tiffany, the daughter of God. And we twist it. And I think sometimes our jobs can be what God would say, you putting that before me.
Yeah. And it's funny because even if you don't want to call yourself by that title, it's the title that's given you. So when you're in hearings, it's judge. You know what I mean? I can remember even after losing my job, trying to find another job with another company. And I go in for my interview as Tiffany Cartwright. I had this great interview. And at the end, it's like, oh, thank you so much, Your Honor, for coming in. I'm like, I'm I'm not here as your honor. I'm not here as Judge Cartwright. I am here as Tiffany Cartwright, a woman in desperate need of a job. And so, but again, it's challenging for people to make that separation, and sometimes it's hard for the individual with the title to make that separation. And when you find that you can't let go, or you're so connected to something, and you can't define yourself outside of that, that becomes a problem. Because
Yeah.
that can't, your job, you can't allow that job to define you to the point where you don't have a meaning or an existence outside of that job.
Oh my goodness. Awesome. I'm going to take a moment to put a pin before we go into our next part of the conversation to see some of the comments. Thank you, 10 says, much respect to Tiffany. Another great Bob! Exclamation point.
Thank you.
Latanya says, wonderful product. My favorite is the lemon and the brown sugar.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's really, really awesome. Wow. I'm
Yeah,
appreciative. I'm so thankful for the support. I really am.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, one image that I have to say is happy anniversary. We talked about being on the show.
Yes, yes. I am so super excited, and we're celebrating, of course, by doing what we're giving. We're giving. I believe that sowing and giving is one of the greatest things you can do as an entrepreneur. It's one of the greatest things we can do in life, period. But
Yes.
particularly as a business owner, it is so important to give back. It's so important to be a blessing, and I just honestly try to avail myself of every possible opportunity to sow and to give, because my daughter gives this great analogy, and she talks about, we can have seeds or we can have trees. And when we have seeds and we hold them in our hand and we don't want to release them, they do nothing more than dry up and die. So you can have dead seeds ultimately in your hand that produce nothing, or you can release those seeds and allow them to get sown into good ground and become trees. And so when it comes to really have to make that decision as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. Do you want seeds or do you want trees? And
Yes.
if you want trees, you want to harvest, you've got to give, you've got to sow.
Yes. I love that analogy. I might have to take that. I'll give her credit though.
Oh yeah, no worries. She's good. She's good. But
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Now, I might be late to the game, but I recently found out about a series called The Chosen. And as I was doing research for this show, it made me think about some of the recent segments that I seen, or episodes that I seen, and how I never thought about the disciples in their own careers or their own jobs, and then being faced with that decision. Most were very compelled, but that decision to say, stop what you're doing and come follow me.
Yeah.
And in following Jesus, they were truly following what their purpose was going to be. The writers of the scriptures, etc., the ones spreading the news, etc. And it made me think about when you and I were approached with that change, that you even mentioned it. I was let go to go into my purpose.
Right.
And I really believe, and I would love you to expand on it, that when we're following our purpose, that is the gift we were birthed with inside of us. So we're really following our Lord when we follow our purpose, at least for me. That's what came to me.
Yes,
So share
absolutely.
that with,
Oh,
expand
absolutely.
your thought.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. For those who don't know, I am the sister of Art Cartwright, who's the founder of Global Empowerment Ministries, and which is an organization dedicated to entrepreneurship. And one of the foundational scriptures that he uses is Luke 19:13, which talks about, we're commanded to occupy. How long? Until he comes. And occupying really means doing financial business and to engage in trade and commerce. And so I believe that entrepreneurship is a calling that we are all called to do, that we're all called to participate in. And, when you talk about the disciples, when you look at them, really, they were entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? They were doing their own thing, whether it was being that fisherman. We got the story where he's like, listen, Jesus, I know fish. I'm a fisherman. Come from a family of fishermen. I know you, Jesus, but I'm a fisherman. The fisherman of fishermen. You know what I'm saying? But that was what he did, So whether it was being a tax accountant or whether it was, being that fisherman, what have you, this is what they did. And another example that I like to look at too is when we look at Proverbs 31. Everybody's like, oh, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. Well, that Proverbs 31 woman was what? She was an entrepreneur. She was a serious entrepreneur when you really look at what she was doing as far as her day to day, day in and day out. And so I'm a firm believer that that's a calling that God has given all of us. And not only that, like we talk about a global empowerment, that is tied to your calling. Because the reason that it's so important that we occupy and that we do financial business and engage in trade and commerce is so that we can be the change that's necessary in the world. Where we talk about the scriptures where Jesus talks about, I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I was naked, you didn't give me any clothes. You didn't come see about me. And people say, oh my God, when did we do that? Jesus, we would never done that to you. And what does he say? He says, if you didn't do it for the least of these, then you didn't do it for me. And so when we talk about where he says, well done, thou good and faithful servant, the good and faithful servant is the one who knew how to sow and got the harvest based upon being able to take that leap of faith and give so that more could be given back and use those God-given talents as opposed to burying them in the ground. And I don't want to belabor the issue, but I just want to make sure that your listeners understand when we take this to the scriptures, what does the word really talk about it? Even when we talk about, wealth and the whole money cometh. No, that there's nowhere it says money cometh. There's no name it, claim it, believe it, receive it. What he says is that he's giving us the power to get wealth. God gives us the power to, meaning there's work that's going to be involved in this. And so when we talk about fulfilling the purpose, fulfilling the calling, there is work required. Oftentimes it's easy to say, well, I'm just waiting to hear from God. I'm just waiting on God. No, his word is his word. He's already given you all the instructions that you need. It's just a matter of whether we're going to follow up and do that. And so really, it's a non-negotiable. It's something that we're all called to do.
I mean, from Adam, the very first assignment was work.
Exactly.
We were, created to manage what God has already put here. Whatever is in you, whatever's purpose, whatever is supposed to happen, and the more that it's amazing how in the short amount of time from the time I get the call, because I got the call with still at 2 weeks left, to be on the job. So I was like, okay, getting prepared. But in that time, I was just like, this is what I was supposed to be doing anyway.
Exactly.
And it may not be where I feel like you're supposed to be maybe a full-time entrepreneur, but you still have a gift that's a purpose inside of you that you're supposed to release into the world. You're supposed to leave and have made an impact for you being here that leaves something that's necessary for the next generation, the people that are left behind, etc.
That's right. That's right. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. And I tell people, there's never too many bakers. There's never too many people who do skincare. There's never too many people who do cosmetics. Never too many carpenters. Never too many fishermen.
Exactly. No, that's a very, very good point, because oftentimes, entrepreneurs feel that they have to compete against each other. And, I help anyone who reaches out. And because I obviously, as we mentioned earlier, I said, I take it very seriously in terms of my commitment to helping others, because I know that I'm one of a few Black founders that people have direct access to, where you can, reach out to me, you can call me on the phone, whatever, reach out on social media, and I will respond and I will help. I will do everything I can to support. And people say, well, do you support people when they have skincare lines? I'm like, absolutely I do, because there's enough sand in the sandbox for all of us. And if you look at anything that's on the shelf right now, whether it's ketchup, makeup, clothing, whatever it is, there's more than one option that's available. And so I'm just a firm believer that what God has for you is for you. And again, seeds or trees. The Bible says he who waters will himself be watered. And
Mhm.
so when you sow into other people and you help them with their businesses, someone's going to come along and support you in yours. And you don't have to be worried about, oh, they're going to out surpass me. They're going to do better than me.
No,
No, because we all work together. We all work
exactly.
together. I want to see more Black brands at Target and Walmart. I want to help people who have products get across that line because there's power in numbers. See? And so
Yes,
the more of us that are there, the louder voice that we united have together. And so it's so
exactly.
important to understand that, to know that, it's not a competition. There's enough sand in the sandbox for all of us.
Exactly. I always tell people because the last time I checked, it said I have a God of abundance. So
Right.
to me, abundance is limitless. And if it's a
Exactly.
God of abundance, that means there's more than enough
More
for
than enough.
everyone.
Exactly.
So it's never
Yes.
competition for me, always collaboration. Never
Exactly.
competition, always collaboration.
Exactly.
So, Tiffany, while I take a pin here, outside of Target and Walmart, where else can we obtain your products or find out more about you or hear about upcoming opportunities that you're doing or whatever the case may be? How can we
Absolutely,
connect?
absolutely. So we're actually in Stop and Shop stores nationwide as well. They're like an East Coast chain, so the products are available there. And additionally, I have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They're all hashtag or at Glam Body Scrubs. It's just one long GLAMBODYSCRUBS, Glam Body Scrubs. And so I welcome all of your viewers to follow me. It's been such an exciting journey, and I am notorious for taking everyone with me on these exciting journeys. We did the Oscars and the Grammys, so we're on the red carpet. There's lots of footage from those events, and we've got some more upcoming events that are coming up. And so I thoroughly enjoy sharing the journey with everyone. And so I welcome everyone to follow the pages and experience everything with me.
I love it. I love it. Now, tell us about the name
Sure.
because I know there's an acronym. But then is Amare a from where? Tell us about the name.
Absolutely. So Amara is the actual name of the company that it's incorporated under. It's Amara Products, and that's intentional so that as other products come along, we'll be able to still keep them under the same umbrella. But GLAM stands for Give Love to All Mankind. And so I am what some would call a social entrepreneur, and I believe that we are really blessed to be a blessing. And I think that for my brand, it is important that I use my brand and my platform to spread love,
Mhm.
to spread the message of encouragement, to talk about the importance of support, particularly in my case, underserved and underprivileged members of the community. I mean, especially women who've been victims of domestic violence and human trafficking, as well as women who are returning citizens. I often say that, my commitment or my grind to be a job provider and a job creator comes from knowing firsthand what it feels like not to have one.
Mm.
And so I want to afford that opportunity to as many as I can, as well as cancer survivors. That's something that's very near and dear to my heart. And so that's what my brand is really all about. It's about helping others.
And that's really what we're supposed to do. It sounds like it's really founded on the great commission of what we're supposed to do is love one
Yeah,
another. So it sounds like it's
exactly.
founded on the love and the love for others.
That's it. That's exactly what it's founded upon. 1 John 4:7 and 8. Yep.
I love it. I love it. Now, as we talk about just how phenomenal you are, I came across this. So it says the African Woman Mobilization Commission. And
Absolutely.
if you still have that pen and paper handy, go ahead and jot this down because this is this weekend, correct?
Yes, it is. It's going to be on Saturday at noon, and it's virtual so everyone can participate. But we will have participants that are actually going to be on from Africa.
I love it. I love it. And you have the honor, you're the keynote.
Yes, yes, I will be presenting and speaking. And this is so huge to me. And I told on my post, I said, stay tuned for the surprise. And that's actually what I wanted to announce to everyone because Glam Body Scrubs, we're going to be expanding into Africa this year. This year. And so right now I'm looking at 2 trips. to Africa, one that'll be coming up in August, and another one that's going to be in October, where I'll actually be traveling over. And I want to, in the same way as here, provide the jobs, training, and mentorship to the women there in Nigeria and then in Ghana, and ultimately we want to spread throughout Africa. So that's another major commitment of mine that through entrepreneurship and through business I'm able to do. So I'm so super, super excited about it.
Love it. Now, when you look back, you're just sitting here just in awe of God, thinking like you made an amazing impact. Don't get me wrong. I love having representation within our court system. We need that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were still there, you
Right.
could not be there.
Yeah, it's so funny that you mentioned that because I was just having this conversation with my brother, and he even shared with the congregation about how one day I just reached out to him and I just said, I just want to say thank you because I'm like, because of what you're doing, my life is forever changed because he was the one who was on the radio and he's telling people, that book that's inside of you, that invention, those recipes that have been given to you from your mom and your grandmom and your auntie. He said, that's a business you're sitting on. He said, and God didn't give that to you for you to sit on it. God gave you that so you could share it with the world. And that's when I had my sudden epiphany, like, what, he's talking to me. What am I doing? What is that in thine hand? And so I was just saying, I'm like, I am so eternally grateful that you took that leap of faith, that you stepped out. He became a millionaire in business at the age of 35. And he didn't just stop there because he's taught thousands of others, including myself, how to do it. And so as I look back now, I was telling him, when I think about the possibility of having lived through this lifetime and not been on the path that I'm on right now, the road not traveled. Oh my gosh. I just, what I mean? It's not something I even like to think about. It's almost like it's not a dream. That's a nightmare. You know what I mean? Like to not be able to walk and fulfill God's calling and his purpose, to not reach the people that he's called me to reach. I'm like, man, I just thank God. And in fact, I look back now and I'm like, I think that them letting me go was probably one of the best things that could have ever happened in my life, because had that not happened, I probably would have never taken that leap of faith and started a business, and I wouldn't be walking in purpose. So, my mom has this saying, I think it's her, says sometimes bad things come or good things come from bad things. Well, that's definitely an example. And sometimes God has to literally get us to that point where we're pushed into obedience.
Yes. And it's true. It's true. What resonated with me with your story, because a lot of people be like, oh my God, you went from like, just like you said, living in the burbs, having this car, all of these different things that we consider, wonderful. You made it, the wealth, etc. And then to have to go, like you said, where, I have to decide what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to put back, and all of these kind of things. But it was in that season that I know, just because of my own season, is that if you was not in a situation that all you had was to trust and lean on what God was able to do, how he was able to perform a miracle, a blessing, to show you firsthand, to strengthen the faith, to encourage that you knew this relationship drew you more into him. I don't want to answer for you, but what you've been able to endure, everything that you had in your business to even get on the shelves, because I know that wasn't easy, but I have to imagine everything that you went through before that was able to shape you to endure what was necessary to get to where you at now. Exactly. As you're moving through your business.
Exactly. It's what gets you to that point where you go for it. And when you go for it, you have this, I guess for me, I was relentless. It was like, this has to work. Failure is not an option. Okay. Because I have nothing to go back to, there's nowhere to go but forward. There's nowhere to go but up. So it's like, you can't fail. You have no other options. It's going to be success or nothing at all. And, and I'll tell you, and what's really interesting about it is that, and I mentioned this earlier, is that I'm still just getting started. So even when those doors open, I always tell people that the biggest challenge is not getting on the shelf. The biggest challenge is staying there. And
Mm.
so the same tenacity and the same diligence and the same relentlessness that it takes in order to get on the store shelves, you don't let up once you get there, because if you do, you won't be there long. So it's very competitive, especially in the beauty space that I'm in. And so when people say, well, do you still do pop-ups? You still do this? I still do everything and anything, because again, your faith, it doesn't stop when you land on those store shelves. You have to still walk in faith, and you still have to trust and believe God for the direction, so that you can be a sustainable brand in big box retail stores. So that walk of faith, it's almost like, one analogy that I have now is that as my kids have gotten older, it used to be, I think as a new mom, you think, oh, and they say, oh, as soon as they get 18, and you think that when your child hits 18, that suddenly the role of being a mom is over, and they're just going to spread their wings and fly, and all your mommy duties are going to be over. Only to find when they get 18, it's not that you never stop being a mom. That's what I say now. Even with my mom, I mean, I'm still checking in and keeping with mom, the whole nine, talk every day, the whole nine, because that role never changes. And I mean, it never ends. It just changes. It becomes modified, and the capacity may be a little bit different, but you're still in that same position. Well, entrepreneurship is the same way. As long as you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to walk by faith and not by sight, because you're never going to be able to figure out the natural. It's never going to make sense. It's never going to all line up. You're never going to be able to figure it all out. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the most surprising things that I'm seeing now, is that, having landed and having that first year under my belt, it's not smooth sailing, because now the challenge is making sure that you let people know about your brand, because now you got to beat last year's sales. You know what I mean? You got to beat last year's number. So whatever you did last year, you got to surpass that, or you're still going to be in the danger zone. So again, it's always about trusting God, and you're never going to lean on your own understanding. And you really, really, as an entrepreneur, you have to acknowledge him in all your ways, and you have to allow him to direct your paths. It's really no other option.
No other option. The Lord is my shepherd. That's what it says. The Lord is my shepherd.
Exactly. Exactly.
Tell us about this upcoming event in May that you're sponsoring. I saw it and I just said,
Tell me
I
which
want
one it
to
is.
know.
I've got so much going on. Oh, so yes. Now that's a very different. Teresa Randall reached out, and she is going to be giving a concert with Yancey, and I just wanted to support, because she has been just an amazing supporter of everything, even before there was G.L.A.M, when I had my Praiser Size gospel workout video. And so I was super excited to come on board as a sponsor and bless the attendees and participants with G.L.A.M body scrubs.
I love it. I love it. So, guys, mark your calendars for Sunday, May 14th, Mother's Day brunch buffet with
Yes.
Nancy and Flex
Yes.
Band with live poetry and jazz from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Make sure y'all know I love jazz. So I'm gonna be in the house. You see every show. I'm right. I love jazz. So I
Oh, then
cannot.
you'll love it. Yeah, no, Yancey's amazing. So it's going to be a really, really wonderful, wonderful event. And so, which is again one of the great things about being an entrepreneur. You get to sponsor different events and help support other people that are walking in their purpose and walking in their calling. So I've been really blessed to support lots of pageants with young women that are, just coming out and deciding on their path and walking out in what God has for them. And it's just a blessing to be able to do that.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we are in our last 6 minutes, and I have to have you back because we don't have a opportunity. I wanted to talk to you about the story that you shared about going with your products with your friends and just being on faith because you didn't have an appointment or anything. And that was just so inspiring to me that I wanted other people to hear that. So we have to have you back so that we get an opportunity just to hear some of the actual foot on the ground,
Yes.
inspiring testimonies, because
Yes.
that's what people really need to understand. We see the products on the shelves, we see Tiffany on social media, and then we think, bam, it was here like always. And it's all of those faith walks, the cries,
Right.
the maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. All of those things is
Yeah.
what truly is the inspiration. So we will be discussing when we can get you back about maybe 6 months or so down the line. But
Fantastic.
what I always need to know, one, I know it's been a roller coaster ride.
Hmm.
What keeps you encouraged outside of course, our Father God?
Absolutely. I think one of the things that's most encouraging is just having a real understanding of how what we're doing today is laying the foundation for so many tomorrows. Knowing that your labor is not in vain, knowing that you have an opportunity to impact and bless the lives of so many others. That is your why. When you're feeling a little frustrated, or you're like, oh my goodness, I can't go another inch, another mile, and you think back to your why, and you think about how you literally are in a position to to turn people's worlds around, to turn people's lives around. That will keep you going. That, along with your faith in God and knowing that He doesn't change, and what He told you to do a year ago, 10 years ago, 6 years ago, He's still waiting. You know what I'm saying? Because He doesn't change. He doesn't change, and He cannot lie. So when you couple those together, that gives you the motivation, and the inspiration, more importantly, that will propel you to continue to move forward.
Yes, amen. Now, what book is currently on your nightstand or that you've recently read or would highly recommend reading?
Gosh, there are so many. One, it's so funny. Before doing business to this level, it was relationships, and so I still tend to want to get into things like the love languages and anything that's kind of um, a deviation from that, if you will. But in terms of books, so of course there's Think and Grow Rich, and I'm constantly with that one, like by the bedside and going through it. Um, and so yeah, that's kind of where I am right now. And it's amazing because you see so many analogies that are, and everything that's still so pertinent, despite the book being like, written decades ago, that it's still so very relevant. And the other thing that I find myself studying right now too is anything that's related to sales, because I'm finding that it's such an integral part of entrepreneurship. And so things that will help move you in that direction, and help you, I guess, finesse that or tweak it, if you will. That's kind of where things are now. It's still business related, but it's hard to get away from it.
I understand. So we had some comments. Thank you guys for joining and your engagement. Latanya had several comments. Yes, the fruit does not grow if the seed is not planted and watered. She
Right.
said, congratulations. I know along the timeline, there's been a lot of things to congratulate Tiffany for, so not sure at what point in our conversation. And she
Okay.
says, yes, opposition presents opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
That's
Love
right.
it.
That's right.
Then
Wow,
hi,
that's
Nikki
awesome.
of the health box says, I shall not want. Hey, beautiful queen. She's giving you some claps. She said, you came in late, but my goodness, I came right on time.
Mm,
You're never too late to the conversation. You're
right.
so right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow.
Tiffany, we are, can you believe it, in our last couple minutes? Is there
Wow.
anything that you want to make sure that you share on tonight's episode that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
Yeah, we covered quite a bit, but like you said, I would love to come back to share some of the day in, day out experiences, because my motto often say is, you see me in my glory, but do you know my story? And so I feel compelled to just help others, give everybody a really, really, really transparent view of what entrepreneur life is really all about. Like we mentioned earlier, when it comes to big box retail stores and being an entrepreneur, you don't know what you don't know. And so I feel that I have a unique calling to help other businesses because of the unique opportunity that has been afforded me. We as African Americans only occupy 6% of the retail shelf space, meaning that that's only 6% of the population, which means there's not a whole lot of Tiffany's out there. You know what I mean? And so because of that, I make myself available. And I'm sure, like I said, if you want to do a Q&A or anything like that, that I can be a blessing and support you as well as your viewers with, then just please know that I'm here for it, because that's really what it's all about.
We love you. Thank you for that. I so appreciate it. And I'm gonna tell you guys, Tiffany is exactly what she said. Once I reached out, I mean, we met that brief time, and I said I was going to follow up. I know I left my card, and I'm so bad at following up. And I'm not going to say that because I know power in words. I'm not bad at following up. I had a corporate job. I had no time to follow up in my schedule. Now I'm an awesome follow upper because God has given me time. Okay. And so I just believe it's organically time. I didn't rush the process. It just felt like you need to contact her now. And like I said, guys, I contacted Tiffany before I got that personal call myself. And I knew bits and pieces about her story. I knew that she was in a phenomenal career and was let go. And I'm just like, wow, God, even the conversations that have been lined up for what you just are doing in my life in this season are inspiring to me. Because while you might be, and I'm Tiffany, you can talk about this too. While you may feel as you're progressing, like, yes, this is it. I can actually sustain myself from this if I move forward. This business can actually do X, Y, and Z. But yet then the doubts still come. But can I take it there? Can I actually do this? It one day I'm like, I got this, and the next day I'm like, oh Lord, I'm not. What the? Oh Lord, you know. How many days of oh Lord have you had?
Yeah, no, there's going to be those days, but that's when you really have to dig those heels in and remind yourself you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And when you know, see, that's the thing about it. And I don't want to go too far over, but what we always have to remember is that we can't take out the God factor. It's him. He's going to sustain you. He's going to keep you. You will not have to worry about lack or anything, because it's him that's doing it. You know what I mean? It gets those moments of fear and trepidation kick in when we think up here walking on the water. See, we're doing good. As long as we keep our eye on Jesus, we're doing good. But when we start looking to the side at those different distractions, like, whoa, wait a minute. Oh my gosh. You know what I'm saying? So what we have to do is stay focused. Eye on, you know what I'm saying? Keep your eyes on the Lord. Don't look to the left, to the right. Don't let those distractions get to the best of you, because at the end of the day, like I said in the beginning, it is in him that we live. It is in him that we move. And it is in him that we have our being. So when you know that deep down in your inner man, when that's what's in your spirit, you don't have to worry about the day-to-day end. You don't have to worry about the fear and trepidation. And it's going to come. It will come. And so when that happens, like I said, it's just bringing God back in the remembrance of his word. And then, like you said earlier, your words. Your words, because I know that life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Yes.
So what are you speaking forth? Because what you speak forth, that's what's going to manifest and and you don't want to internalize anything that's other than God's word. So your daily confession, and listen, if that means you putting up some nice little index cards all over your mirror, all over your house, whatever you need to do, walking around confessing that what you want to manifest, then that's what we do. We have to go all out, because listen, I got vision boards and everything. Okay. So yes, that's what we
just said yes and amen with exclamation points. That is right. Thank you, Annette. Yes, that is correct. OMG, I'm excited already for our next conversation. And that's just a perfect way to end, because we cannot give any additional glory. God gets all the glory. Perfect way to end. I want to thank you all. Make sure you mark your calendars and tune in for next week. We are kicking off the month of May. And for those of you who don't know, we're going to start a conversation with Sharon Jones of Urban Unity Nonprofit, which is a nonprofit that is there for foster care for those individuals that are aging out of the foster care system. And next month of May is Foster Care Awareness Month. So can you get excited about all of the amazing things that I'm going to bring to you that you can volunteer for and get involved with, making sure you continue to spread awareness about our foster care system. And then I want you, if you have not already done so, make sure you go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Just do a search for Deals with Bob. Click that red subscribe button. then that little notification bell so that you will get notified of every time that we go live. I want to again say thank you to Tiffany, the amazing Cartwright. That's what I'm going. Tiffany, the amazing Cartwright, and for this phenomenal conversation that we have had together.
Thank
Also,
you.
to all of you who have joined this evening with your comments and your engagement, I appreciate you. Make sure you share this so that people can still be inspired by what was said on this evening. So, as always, I am Sonia Weaver, and I encourage you to spend with purpose because your dollar does matter and deal with Bob. Have an amazing night. We'll see you next week. Bye.